15 minutes.
Fabulous. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Stealing Immortality, the Old Ways Twitch's Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages tale. I am your storyteller this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and I want to welcome you back to Constantinople. We have an awful lot of fun things to get to tonight. But before we do, we need to get the propers out of the way. So thank you for joining us on Twitch. But I'd also like to direct you to the fact that the community has a community Discord, which you can join. The links are there on our page, as well as a method to support the show, which is the Patreon channel that we have. Tons of extras, including our extra series that all of our Patreons get, Upon Reflection, which is a backer-only video that we do directly after recording to talk about the episode and all the little idiosyncrasies that happen with it. We hope you'll join us there. Patreon.com/The Old Ways Podcast. And now I want to get out of the way and let our ghoulies introduce themselves. They are not so much ghouls anymore, but they will always be the ghoulies of our heart. And so take it away.
Is it me first?
Always.
All right. Sorry, I'm already fucking it up tonight. Hi, I'm Morgan. I play Genevieve. And I am part of Clan Lasombra, formerly part of Clan Ventru. Things happened. Our pronouns are she, her, and I am a cast member on the Old Ways podcast.
Indeed, you are. They can find you all over the podcast in many different forms. And don't think of it as you've gone to Clan Lasombra, much as that you upgraded from Clan Ventru to Clan Lasombra. And next to Genevieve.
Hi, I'm Bunny. I'm playing our Toreador, former girl, newly-ish minted vampire Emerenzia. Our pronouns are also she, her. I'm a cast member of the Old Ways, as well as a Twitch streamer, so you can find me all sorts of places, and I'll be in chat with you tonight as Fiery Ashes. So hi.
Fabulous, fabulous. Yes, indeed. I do believe that there is an appearance scheduled by the Dama this evening. We'll discuss that more shortly. And last, but most certainly not least.
Hi there, this is Allie, and I play Ophelia Celos of Clan Bruja, and I'm hoping to make a giant brouhaha about rescuing our dear potential Lasombra if she's not completely dead.
Ain't no party like a brouhaha party. So we were unfortunately unable to be with you last time, but that's okay. Worry not, for we are members of the immortal kindred race, and so time is but a drop in a bucket as far as we're concerned. We're going to pick up soon after we left off, but we'll get to some bookkeeping items first. I would like all of our vampires here to deduct a point of blood from their blood pool as they've had a chance to rest and thus experience something that some of them have maybe only experienced a couple times before, which is the fact that they feel a little less full. It gnaws at each one of you just a little bit. And while the hunger hasn't taken any one of you yet, you are slowly beginning to realize that that feeling that you must have gotten maybe perhaps once a month is now becoming a little bit stronger. Now that sets in after a few days. And maybe it makes you wonder how often you're going to have to feed. Certainly something we'll get to. But that being said, nightfall has once again taken over Constantinople. And there were plans, I believe, concocted by Ophelia to potentially spring one Genevieve from the clutches of the Lasombra, because the belief is, of course, that she may be being held against her will. And I am happy to hand the narrative ball, so to speak, over to the players and have them make some decisions about what's going to happen tonight.
So since I wanted to run, a rescue mission for our dear Genevieve, I know that I have to run that past my sire too. So I imagine the first thing that I would do is I would go and talk to him, actually.
Okay. You find your master in his chambers. He's working over some text and making notes. He notices you come in. Oh,
So at the spectacle, for lack of a better term, one of the other people that I was with for the infiltration of the house seemed to be being held captive by one of the other clans instead of with her master. And I would like to go get her so that she doesn't have to be part of them and bring her home.
he looks a little puzzled. You wish to collect someone.
Yes.
Sit down, child.
Sit down.
He puts the pen down. This person, this third that you were a part of, Epris's Villa, is it clear that they are one of us?
Of Clan Bruja?
No, are they kindred?
No, she wasn't. She was still human.
And you wish to save them?
Yes. They did something to her mind, Master. She didn't remember. She didn't remember her master until he was being killed.
He winces
They
a little.
violated her.
I see. And tell me, who has decided that you will be the swift wings of justice?
Well, no one has decided.
What clan is keeping her?
Did I know? Did they introduce themselves?
I'm not certain you would know. They certainly did not. Well, actually, they may have in the pews area. They may have introduced themselves. Isabella may have introduced herself as a member of Clan Lasombra. That would probably be something that she would have done. Even if she didn't, I'll say that she did because it's easier that way.
Okay. Well, Genevieve is being kept by Clan Lasombra.
It would be easier to send a letter, or perhaps even more subtle to have a conversation. Storming over there and attempting to wrest her from their haven would be dangerous. We do not need bad blood between Clan Lasombra and Clan Bruja. You must understand that if she is theirs, if they have taken her and they have her as their ghoul, then they have every right to do whatever they want to her. You can think that it is wrong. It may, in fact, be wrong, but that does not relinquish their power over her. She's owned.
Well, I don't know if a conversation or a letter would get her away from them. I don't think they would relinquish her.
Then it would be key to speak on a political stance. It would be more subtle to work a social angle and to inquire after her. Perhaps he sort of grasps at the air a minute. The other one, the Toreador. I could perhaps send you with a letter of introduction to the Dama. Perhaps she could work a social angle, politically speaking, with the Lasombra and speak on your behalf. But going over there and demanding her will either get you in trouble or worse, cause problems for the clan. You must understand that as a member, a full member of the clan now, when you do things, it reflects on the entirety of the clan.
Yes, Master.
And
I understand that.
and while many of our clan enjoy being a one-person army, it is dangerous to do so, especially with vampires so skilled in the arts that the Lasombra are.
Which is why I wished to consult with you before I did anything.
Yes, clear wisdom on your part, but I would be careful. And so I will draft a simple letter of introduction. As an elder, I have enough status to at least get you a meeting, and then perhaps you can take it further than that.
Thank you, Master.
He somewhat swiftly scratches out a letter on parchment, and after a few minutes, it dries, and he seals it and hands it to you in a carefully constructed by hand envelope. It is no work of art, but it carries our seal, which should be enough to get someone's attention.
Shall I go visit the house that the Dama resides at? Or
Hmm.
shall I send this along with someone else?
She has a villa in near several of the theaters and chapel districts.
Very well.
Mind the guards. And remember who you are.
Yes, Master.
He goes back to work.
And I will grab a cloak and my bag, and I put the letter in my bag, and I will swiftly depart and head over to the villa.
Okay, we'll keep the camera with you. The area of town, the area of Constantinople that the Dama lives in is a fairly luxurious one. It's really not far from the Hagia Sophia and some of the other locations near the palace. It's actually really just off a few districts from it. You can easily see the palace and some of the spaces that you were in recently as of a few nights ago. And Callias wasn't wrong about the guards. This district is heavily watched. If you're going to try to avoid those guards, I would like you to make a dexterity stealth roll to do so.
Oh, I can do that. Two successes.
Okay. Make a. Okay. You manage to move from pillar to pillar and in and around different archways and find your way eventually to the front door of the villa. A beautiful set of double doors, which has a lightly red tinted lantern outside of it. Sort of shines this rosy color down on the steps. There's a gilded nature to the lantern, and it also has different textures and colors in the glass that's used in the side of it. And there is a long and elegantly crafted rope that hangs from the right side of the door.
I pull on the rope.
Okay. You pull on the rope. You hear a series of bells. Emerenzia, given your vampiric hearing, while you might have not sensed the sounds of the bells as a ghoul, you certainly hear them now as a kindred. Someone has rang the front doorbell.
I know somebody else will handle actually opening the door by the time I can get there, but I am going to go creep on who it is.
Okay. Yeah, you see a lot of scurrying, basically. Like the ground level of the house where you're up a couple flights and you can see that outer courtyard of the villa area, but ghouls and other retainers scramble through and a couple people get near the door. And then eventually you see the house's footmen come to the door and open the door. There is a tall, but yet slender male figure. His skin is tanned. He wears a dark tunic, and he seems to open the door just a little bit. Ophelia, you see this as well. And in Emerenzia, in that rose-colored light, you see Ophelia standing at the front door.
Oh. God, what would she be doing here? Exciting. Okay. So Emerenzia will rush down the rest of the way to the front door and be there to greet her as she's hopefully welcomed in. And if she doesn't get welcomed in, I will welcome her in myself, damn it.
Yeah, the footman doesn't immediately welcome her in. As you're moving down, you can hear him talk to Ophelia. He says, "Good evening. May I inquire as to the nature of your appearance here this evening?" He seems really
Yes.
formal.
Yeah. So I pull the letter out and hold it out to him. I have a letter of introduction for the Dama.
He takes the letter. At this point, given the speed of Emerenzia, you make it to the first floor and you're beginning to move across the stones there. This is likely something, Ophelia, that you'll pick up on because the interior space is not completely dark. And so you can see Emerenzia moving towards you, over this guy's shoulder.
And I just bust out into a smile. Because, hey, I know you.
Welcome to my home.
The man sort of steps back a little bit. He turns to you, Emerenzia, and says, "Oh, you are acquainted."
Yes. We spent some time together recently, actually at the Dama's request. Please, Ophelia, please come in.
The doorman hands you the the folded letter, and then closes the door after Ophelia comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know this doorman's name? I'm assuming after all this time I probably would.
Yeah. You know, this is Francis.
Thank you, Francis. I'll take care of her from here.
He bows to you, shuts the door, and then walks away.
Valid. Ophelia, why have you come to see the Dama and I? 'Cause
I
I
have
selfishly include myself in that.
right. So I have a formal letter of introduction from my master to your master, to your mistress, more correctly. And I wanted to make a inquiry of her about Genevieve.
Oh, sure. Of course, let me take you to her. I will lead the way to where I believe the Dama would be this evening.
So this early in the evening, your your favorite person in the world is likely doing instruction. She is likely working with her retainers, likely working with her seneschal social calendar, ensuring that things are properly set. This could also mean that she might be indisposed, socially speaking, because she might be seeing to various retainers or ghouls that might have need of her.
That's fair. Instead of taking her directly to her, I will take Ophelia to where we would usually entertain a guest and send another. Oh, not another. I'm not a ghoul anymore. I was going to say another ghoul. I will send a ghoul or retainer who's nearby to go fetch her. To go let her know that I'm waiting with her with a guest in a study.
Absolutely. I think it's fair though that like Ophelia probably sees you like work something through in your head for a second, and then eventually you turn to a ghoul and and send them on their merry way. They're happy to go tell the Dama anything that you would like.
Sorry, Ophelia. I'm still getting used to being one of the people who instructs people rather than is just being instructed. It's taking a little time, I think. It's fun, but it's taking a little time.
After a couple minutes. No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to tell her that I unfortunately do not get to understand the joy of that yet, as my household has been severely diminished.
Oh dear.
But we will rebuild. No worries.
After a couple minutes, the door opens on the third floor where the Dama is residence is. That's where her bedroom is. That's where the main social space is. That's where the bathtub is. Like all the good stuff's up on 3.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. She opens the door. You can hear her. You being Emerenzia can hear her steps. You know her gait. You know how she walks. You can probably hear like the swish of fabric on the stones. She appears at the railing in we'll just say, mostly open silk robe. And she sort of glances down towards the courtyard that you're all in. And she says, good evening. Won't you all come up?
Oh, of course, Dama. Be right there.
He steps
Let's
back.
go, Ophelia, to the best part of the whole villa.
So upstairs, the third floor of the villa is exceedingly opulent. Many of the fineries here clearly are masters' work. There are many different paintings, many different sculptures that line the halls here. There's a lot of mosaics, a lot of reliefs that are done with tiny colored stones and different patterns. You cross a opulent rose that is set into the doorway here. You simply walk right over it. And at the far end of the room, there's 2 or 3 different retainers who are I think the best way to put it would be buttoning the Dama up. They're finishing their service to her by clothing her fully. And so she's in a rather respectable Italian gown now. And she looks, for you, Emerenzia, she looks fairly conservative. This would be there are guests in the house that are not part of the clan. And so we're going to make sure that we're on good social footing first.
True. That makes sense.
But instead of having her hair up, her hair is down. And while it's not very long, which is sort of there's a bit of strangeness for you in that, Ophelia. Most of the ladies that you've encountered have pretty long hair. The Dama's hair is barely shoulder length, and it's raven black. And when she steps towards you, the entire room like smolders with her presence. She's exceedingly alluring in person. She extends a hand towards you, Emerenzia.
I'll take it very gingerly and I'll kiss it. Thank you for your time. I have a letter for you. After kissing her hand, then I will place the letter of introduction into it. But she is my world, and so I still get swept up in her first.
She carefully opens the letter. As she does not lift her gaze from the two of you. So you watch her not fumble with the letter. She carefully opens each piece of it. She runs her hands across it. And Kalias did a fairly decent job at preparing it. So it's not as if this would be simply a basic fold. But she undoes it without any concern. And then glances down and begins reading it. And then she does something that both of you do not expect. She lifts the letter and she inhales. Like this really long, deep inhale. And then folds the letter closed. Very well. I know who you are now. Your sire, Kalias, he sent you here because he thought I could help you.
Yes. So the third of our group, when we infiltrated the villa to retrieve the items that you sent us for,
Genevieve de Montfort.
is yes. She is being held by Clan Lasombra.
Oh. Held.
I can.
Her master was the one who was speared and roasted.
Yes, I'm familiar.
She was mentally violated, and that much was clear when Emerenzia and I went over simply to say hello to her when we saw her.
Yes.
Her memories were being suppressed. And then only seemed to not be being suppressed anymore when her master was already in the process of being killed and she was being pinned down. But they do seem to be dominating her more than not and keeping her memories from her. And something just seems very wrong.
She nods. It can be difficult sometimes to understand why some members of our society do things the way they do. And I am in no way absolving them of their sins. That's not my position here. I do wonder why they would do such a thing. It does not seem to benefit if the intention is to raise up the ghoul and teach it how it is to act and serve, and then eventually to at least consider it for what it might be able to do for the clan eternally, then such memories would be difficult to overcome. It might make one quite monstrous. What would you like me to do?
Well, Master Dugas felt that approaching this from a political and social aspect would be more viable than simply charging in and attempting a, you know,
Rescue.
rescue, whether covert or not. And
Oh,
he felt that you would have a better understanding of how to approach that than I do.
your master doesn't want to get his hands dirty. I understand. Although I do find it funny, Callius is quite apt at getting his hands dirty. I'm sure he has tons of stories he's just not told you. But be that as it may, Clan Toreador and Clan Lasombra do have many portions of our social lives which intertwine. They are a rising clan here in Constantinople, and I believe that they may have more members here than they are willing to tell. Many of our important elders. I believe they may be looking for a way to gather more. And while not against any specific ruling that Michael has laid out, the recent business in the Latin Quarter and the difficulties therein is only going to bolster more Latin presence. And that will mean more space for Clan Lasombra. I think that it would be possible for the two of you to inquire after her. There is nothing socially unacceptable about going to their church and inquiring after her. After all, you three share something very unique, and Clan Lasombra knows that, I'm sure. And so, I will extend you and Emerenzia a bit of my social grace. You will be careful with it, like an
Of
egg,
course, Dama.
for if it breaks, she doesn't complete the sentence.
Understood, Dama. I will, you know how I am. I will treat it like it's the most precious thing in the world.
In this regard, we must look before we leap. Perhaps, Emerenzia, you find this Genevieve in a better position than you knew. Or, God forbid, it is worse. If it is, come back to me and I will take another path.
And if they don't let us see her?
Let me amend that. They don't let us see her or they deny that she's with them, even though we know that they're the ones that she's with. Would that be the same as assuming that it's worse and come back to you about it? Or
I think one could assume that if they were not at least amenable to allowing her to speak or be seen, there might be some concern. But again, kindred law is very distinct here. If she's still there and she is still serving as a ghoul, Ghouls have very different rights. They have very different allowances. It could be difficult. But I have a feeling that with the properly worded letter, the bishop there will be quite understanding. He will not seek to make inroads in places he does not want to. She smiles. And when she smiles, Ophelia, like you can see that there are perfectly rowed teeth, just perfect fangs in her mouth. Like if it was possible that this woman could become more attractive by smiling with a fanged mouth, she does. I think we will take them off guard. They will not want to upset Clan Toreador. It is a simple request, and they will know that if they deny a simple request, there will be questions. And after all, Michael himself is Clan Toreador. And that has some political power in and of itself. So go and prepare yourself for a social gathering. She looks at you, Emerenzia. Could you perhaps assist Ophelia with something to wear?
I would be delighted to.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Use my wardrobe.
All right. Happily.
We will set the two of you upon a rather well stocked closet. And as we do, we're going to go check out the church where Genevieve is at. So you've had a pretty difficult couple of days, Genevieve. I think that really is somewhat the nightly understatement. But that being said, you have found a strength within yourself, a darkness, one with voices, which talks back to you. It's there. And now not only can you feel it, but you can shape it. Just being able to touch that portion of the darkness and then expand it out is comforting. It's power. It's palpable power. It's real. It's not imaginary.
Yep.
I wonder how you're spending your night then.
I'm probably getting to know the new me.
So how would you get to know the new you?
Taking in all the heightened sentences, the heightened sentences, the like senses that I have obtained, assuming the world just feels different, like on my skin, inside me. I feel like I'm on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably certainly feel a little denser. Like your body feels not heavy, but you feel a little more real. I think that's probably the best way to put it. You certainly feel stronger. And all of those external and internal senses are sort of on fire a little bit. There's currently a mass going on inside the church. Lots of candles. This is a relatively human, sort of kind, mundane mass that's going on. Although there are a few members of Clan Lasombra here taking part, at least observing.
Like, are the humans attending this mass? Are they ghouls?
Well,
Or
probably
are
some of
they
them, to be certain.
just regular old mortals that have no idea about the vampire world?
Well, I would imagine that there's a little bit of both. It's likely that there's no more than a handful of ghouls here, and predominantly it's humans.
And it's nighttime, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is absolutely nighttime. Otherwise, you would not be up.
He's sleeping.
Yeah. While I don't necessarily stick to the hard, fast rule that vampires can't wake up before the sunset, I do think it is likely that they're a little bit more sluggish while the sun is still up. It's harder for them to be active. So, and, like for instance, if the sun was going to set around 7 o'clock, you could probably be up and around by 6, but you're not moving very fast. You're probably just like conscious, because you're conscious that the sun is an imminent enemy, and whether you believe that it that vampires are cursed by God, you certainly don't want to take risks by stepping anywhere near anything that is close to sunlight.
Yeah, if it's dark out, then I'm going to go outside.
Okay, in the front of the church, or maybe in the back of the church where the garden is.
Let's go to the back of the church. It's the garden.
Okay. You go to the back of the church. You go to the garden where several members of the clan are tending. Isabel is here as well. And she's not really taking an assessment of the space, but she does seem to be relaxing. I think that's probably one of the most distinct moments you've actually seen her not doing something. She seems to be waiting.
I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
Would I know by this time who sired me?
Nope.
It's been a couple days.
You're not really sure. You do remember some very distinct moments. You remember someone drained the blood from your body. You remember being bitten. You remember the flow and the feeling of emptiness. You remember your heart stopping. You remember the screams and the moans from oblivion. And then seeing other faces in that darkness. You remember seeing Isabella. You remember seeing Casilda. You remember seeing the bishop. And then blood. And so you're not really sure.
I feel like that's maybe important information that I would want to find out at some point.
Maybe you want to find out who your daddy is.
Who my daddy is. Yep. And you said Isabella is just sitting out there.
Yeah, she's sitting out there. She seems to be being attended to by a ghoul who is carefully brushing her long black hair.
Yeah, I go and take a seat next to her.
She looks at you and nods. Genevieve.
Sire?
She smiles. How was your rest?
Uneventful. Mm.
I have some work for you.
Oh, that's good because I was itching to explore the new me.
Of course. You. She looks back at the ghoul. Go. Go on, go. She shoos the ghoul away, and the unfortunate soul sort of scampers off. Casilda steps over and sits on the other side of the bench and faces the two of you. Her lovely, long blonde hair, a striking contrast between all the people here who have basically black hair. I have been made aware that there was something taken from Epirus's vault. I need you to confirm something for me.
Anything.
Be careful with superlatives, dear. Anything is a big word.
I just smile.
It's my understanding that, well, that one of the other ones was looking for something dear to an elder here in the city. Perhaps vials of blood. Are you aware of this?
No, I'm not sure what everyone took.
I see. Casilda pipes up for a second and she says, we have been looking for something similar for some time. We were unaware that it was at the vault. Do you think that you could get in contact with the others that you worked with and find out?
I can. All three of us had separate things to get. What kind of blood is it? If you don't mind my asking.
We believe that it is potent kindred blood, Isabella replies. Blood we wish to acquire.
I can see what I can do. I can't promise anything, but or although I already did, so
Indeed.
what do I get out of it?
Ah, of course. Of course, there must be something for you. Isabella stands up. Come here with me. She walks to the end of the garden. And you see at the end of the garden, there is a beautiful monument. It almost looks like a tomb, like a mausoleum. And she says, come with me. And she reaches up and does something exceedingly unladylike. She gets on top of the mausoleum. Like, she puts one hand on the marble, and there's a little inlet, and you see her use no more than 3 of her fingers to hoist her entire body on top of it.
Yeah, I follow. I do the same thing that she does.
Yep. And it doesn't, with potence, it doesn't test your strength in any way, shape, or form. She points. to the northeast. And she says, there is a tower there to the northeast. It is part of the outer gate. You see the two torchlights there? You can clearly see them. There is a villa, not far. A different sort of place. Not stylized as the church here in the Palace District, but something newer. Something you could start from. Acquire the vial, return it to the clan, and you will have your own domain.
Well, now I'm all in. Inside. I'm like trying to not shake with getting this, I'm very power hungry. Yeah, you shall have that vial.
Good. She steps down. She more like jumps down. Walks back towards Isabella, who walks back towards Casilda, who is clearly does not approve of her unladylike walking on top of mausoleum. She doesn't say anything to her sister, but there's no love there.
I also jump down.
Now, it would be advantageous for the clan to determine whose blood this is. If that information can also be required, I'm willing to extend to you a retainer or two to help staff the house. You stand to gain very much, Genevieve.
Well, I know where to find both of my friends.
Good.
So I will take my leave and prepare.
I look forward to hearing as soon as you know. So back over at the Dama's villa, I would love to hear just so that our audience can get an idea of how the two of you are dressing. Give to us that narrative. Show us who you are, what you're dressing in.
I'll have let Emerenzia take the lead on it and dress me as she saw fit for a socially appropriate outfit for this excursion.
Okay. No pressure.
And because that is the case, Ophelia is probably showing more skin than she usually would. We're talking deep plunges. We're talking hanging fabrics, mostly blacks and like the darker gem tones that the Dama adorns herself with that are a little rarer in this time. I have adorned us both in some of my favorite jewelry of the Damas that I would never dream of touching without her permission, because this might be the one time in my unlife that I get to do that. But we are going to leave the Dama's closet draped in fabrics with deep plunges and just enough exposed skin to be distracting. Well, just enough loose hanging fabric to hide things along our body if we need to.
Fantastic. Okay. So you all prepare. And afterwards, you return from the armoire and all of the different, you know, um, the different clothing options, the jewelry options, boots, shoes, etc. And you return to the Dama, who is awaiting your return. She seems to be just very lightly sipping something from a crystal glass. Very patient. She stands up when the two of you return. She says, "My, Ophelia, are you certain that your master won't have you hung for being a harlot?"
He would not send me if he did not trust your judgment.
Oh, I think Kalias and I have more than enough experiences. He knows I know what I'm doing. I just know that he's a bit reserved. This is not his vision of you.
No, and if he does not have to see me this way, I would be much relieved because I am embarrassed.
Oh,
Absolutely.
but you shouldn't
But
be.
you look lovely, dear.
It doesn't matter. I am embarrassed nonetheless. I prefer a little more modesty myself.
Yes, well, if you ever wish to retire to become a monk, I can certainly suggest some burlap for you to wear.
And I do laugh, like in character. I do find that amusing because I have slightly more fashion sense than a burlap sack, but I can't specify how much.
Sure. All right. I
I don't know
have.
about that.
Yes.
I was just going to say, well, he might not see her this way. I think that this was a rather wonderful canvas to get to decorate finally.
It is interesting how society has decided long ago that our kind should be covered, cloistered. And I love rubbing their nose in the fact that they can't stop me.
I'll gently brush a finger along the side of her hand as well. And I was like, can't stop us for sure.
I have prepared a scroll for you. She hands it over. You see there's two seals on it. One is larger than the other. Both of them you're familiar with, Emerenzia. One is the seal of the villa, the basically the Dama's house. And the other is the seal of Clan Toreador. Take this to the church and inquire after your third. If you do not get the answer you're looking for, return to me and I will involve those who are closer to Michael.
Thank you, Dama.
Of course. So the two of you are going to step out into the night. I wonder if you could just give us an idea of your approach when it comes to the church. You do have the ability, of course, to perhaps acquire a wagon or some type of conveyance to take you there? Or are the two of you going to be a little bit more covert and try to sneak over there?
I personally, and I mean, before we leave, while we're still in the front hallway of
Mhm.
the villa, we can talk about this. But I will convey to Ophelia. I personally think that because we are going on a social call, we have dressed up, we have a letter from the Dama. We're not breaking in. We are arriving. We might as well take, a wagon or some such. We might as well go and let our presence be known at their front door because we're not doing anything to hide. We're going there to inquire about a friend who, in theory, lives there now on a social call. So sneaking up and trying to come in through a back way or something might damage that trust anyway. So I personally don't feel the need to be discreet, but that might be the Toreador in me speaking. So Ophelia, what do you think about this? How would you like to approach? Because I know my comfort levels and yours are going to be far different.
Yes, well, under normal circumstances, I would prefer to be covert. My master has sent me to your household and your mistress, and she has given us a letter of some sort to give to them, which means that it must be some sort of public appearance. And as you stated, a social call could be heard if you're sneaking around the grounds of a place that you aren't necessarily expected to be at. And I think following the lead of your mistress is better for me in the long run, despite how very much I want to get inside and get Genevieve out of that place. The thing that I hated was that my master had to impress upon me that ghouls are property, as we once were,
Yes.
and that a rescue is not only foolhardy but not recommended.
It could definitely damage things for both of our clans. I think that, as the Dama mentioned, that we are going on a social call. We are inquiring with our friend who we know we last saw with them and know is in their possession now, for lack of a better way to put it. And so if we don't find what we want there, instead of going in and tearing some throats or other delightful arteries out, the move there would be to come back to the Dama and let us work a little social pressure before anyone feels the pressure of one of your weapons. Just because it'd be very problematic for both of our clans should we just go in and draw first delicious blood, So let me and mine help with this, because you know that I want to get Genevieve out of there too, or at least make sure that she's okay in choosing to be there and not just having her mind played with to say that she wants to be there. So I'm all in on this too. I just it's complicated.
Yes, I understand
Very
the politics.
complicated.
I understand that there are also politics at work that make this difficult because of the nature of kindred and the clans and their intricacies involving one another. But, Genevieve doesn't deserve to suffer at the hands of mistreatment. And I don't know about you, but that scene at the forum was nothing but.
Okay. So are the two of you then going to go over in a official capacity?
Yeah.
Okay. So you acquire what is effectively a covered caravan wagon, a small one. One of the retainers for the Dama takes you over. You have a place to sit, and there's a driver, but it isn't the gilded carriage that the Dama uses to travel around, because clearly she ain't with you.
Yeah.
The approach to the church is fairly direct. There's a place to stop next to it, and you're able to get out with the assistance of the retainer and some stairs, because that would be the right way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're outside a very large Orthodox church. Outside the church, there are an array of people. It looks like there are parishioners that are leaving a evening mass. And so there's probably 20 or maybe 30 people that are filing out at this point.
Hmm. I mean, I suppose we just walk up, right?
I suppose. I don't know where else we would go.
I'll make sure I have letter from the Dama and everything, and
Mhm.
I stride up confidently and throw open the doors of the church and just walk in like I belong there. And
I love that for you.
I love that for me too, Michael.
You two head in. There are a couple of straggling parishioners, likely people who wanted to see the bishop, the father of the church, before they left. The church is otherwise empty. There's a few people that are clinging to some of the cathedral shadows here, whether they're praying near perhaps some of the statuary, or they're minding some of the candles and whatnot. But for the most part, the main sanctuary area is quiet. As you are just about getting your bearings, there's a blonde woman who walks out from a space. Looks like a archway that leads maybe deeper into the church. She walks out from that space and into the cathedral. You both would recognize her. She was with the clan in that space at the forum. It does not take her long to notice you.
Good evening.
She walks over, keeps about probably a little bit more than pleasant conversation distance between the two of you. Good evening. Can I ask what brings you here?
Of course. I will extend the letter and say that we are here because we believe our friend Genevieve has been staying here, and we wish to make a social call.
She sort of she looks at the scroll, the letter, over a few times, but she doesn't open it. Very well. Out of that same archway, a older man steps out. He's got dark hair, but it has grayed a little. He's in what looks like ecclesiastical trappings, dark clothing. He almost looks like he's a member of the clergy, but there's a very Spanish style to his clothing. It doesn't look anything like the Byzantine, or they wouldn't call it Byzantine, obviously, because they wouldn't call it that. They would call it probably Eastern Empire style. He doesn't look like the folks from around Constantinople.
Sure.
He walks out very carefully and proceeds over towards this blonde woman. And he looks at the both of you and says, "Are you coming by way of a messenger?" He sort of reaches out for the letter, which this blonde woman immediately turns and gives it to him. He opens it up after sort of carefully looking at the seals that are on it. It takes him no more than a handful of seconds to read what's on the letter. It does not look like it's long at all.
Yeah.
And he rolls it up. He turns to the blonde woman and says, "Isabella, go and fetch Genevieve." Isabella nods. Sorry. Casilda nods very carefully. And then she moves back into the darkness. And that's the other thing, too, that I'd love to get some perception alertness rolls from the two of you who are here. Because dice rolls are fun.
Pleasure.
Four.
That's a lot.
1.
So for you, Emerenzia, the shadows here are way deeper than you are comfortable with. But the candles and the other lanterns here that light this space aren't giving as much light as you think they should. That's really the best way to put it. Like, the shadows here are a little clingy. They stick to things. For you, Ophelia, your senses and your just plain training in how to stay on top of and notice things, it's eerie in here. It feels colder in here than it should. It feels darker in here than it should based on the light that's available. In fact, the man in front of you almost exudes his own shadow. He steps closer to the two of you. We rarely get visitors at the church. It's good to have them.
It's very rare for me to get to visit such a interesting piece of architecture and its lovely inhabitants. But you just happen to have a friend of mine living with you, as last I checked. And so we have a wonderful reason to make a social call finally.
He smiles, not pleasantly, but courteously. Genevieve, in the basement, you are alerted by Casilda that there are guests here for you. She seems almost a little, I think, surprised or maybe incredulous. Like, the idea that you would get guests is sort of WTF.
And I hear that. I hear that in her voice.
Oh, yeah.
I just finished changing, and so as I walk by her, I will slowly take my finger and slowly run it under her chin and wink at her. keep walking by.
You walk by and eventually upstairs and into the main cathedral space where your fellow troublemakers are standing next to the bishop.
Well, the Morgan in me wants to be like, "Hey, girls," but that's not really what I would do. But that would be pretty great. So I will walk over to them and stand next to the bishop. Bow my head down.
Yeah, the two of you probably see her bow in reverence to this man.
I'll shoot Ophelia attempting to be subtle look.
Oh, and it does not take very long, really at all, after you put eyes on Genevieve. Something has 100% changed in Genevieve. She is paler than you have ever seen her before.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that change, I am stock still.
Taking note of it, but not dropping the social graces for this visit because I don't think that would help her or us. Genevieve, it's so good to see you. We just had to make a social call. It seems like I was getting all of this one's time, but not yours. I'll like pat Ophelia on the shoulder before gesturing warmly towards her. I think it's been an eventful time for all of us since we met, and it'd be nice to catch up. What do you say?
I lean over and I kiss Emerenzia on both cheeks. It is so good to see you too, Emerenzia. And
I'll return the
Ophelia.
gesture.
I was going to come by and see you both, and here you are.
Oh, you
Does
were
she
going to
sound-
come see us.
Does she sound actually happy to see us?
So systematically speaking, all I really have to ask is, Morgan, is your character being genuine?
Yes.
Or I should say,
Yes,
are you
'cause-
attempting to conceal any ulterior motives?
I mean, yes, I am happy to see them, but yes, I am happy to see
Okay.
both of them because I needed to see them anyways.
Yep, fabulous. Manipulation, subterfuge.
Oh, me or
Yeah,
them?
you. Because you're trying to conceal a covert, purpose here.
Is there
Can
a
I-
check that we can use in taking test with?
There will be. We'll
Okay.
let one roll happen and we'll get to the next one, promise.
Can I
Okay.
use my specialty, persuasive lies?
100%,
and then-
which means you can reroll 10s.
Awesome.
Fuck.
Yep. And this is also a roll you can spend willpower on too.
I have no points in subterfuge.
That's okay.
Which
So
is hilarious.
You're just not subtle. That's okay. that kind of tracks with what we know of Genevieve. Or should I say Maria?
Listen, I would be approaching Genevieve with such scrutiny because I don't know if her mind is under her control or not. And it just seems appropriate to be wary of the things she's saying.
Is it 6s and better?
Yep.
Okay, I got 5 successes.
Oh boy. Okay. So for you all, the contesting is either it's one or two options you have, right?
Mhm.
So you could either roll manipulation subterfuge to see if you're being lied to, because you might also know the fact that, hey, I know how that works. Or You could attempt to roll something like manipulation empathy to see if your emotions are being messed with, or sorry, perception empathy.
I'll go manipulation subterfuge for this one.
Okay.
I know what this game is.
Hey, I play
As
this
will I.
You know
We
the
like
rules,
this
and so do I.
I'm at your 5.
Okay.
Damn, I only have 4.
Yeah. So, Emerenzia, it seems fairly genuine, and Ophelia, the read you get on it is, I'm not so sure about that. You don't think you're being lied to, but you don't really know. I would say that what you perceive is that Genevieve is being very careful about what she is saying. You don't know why.
I think in my head, I would just assume she has to be careful of what she's saying because she's next to the bishop.
That tracks. That makes good sense to you in your head. The bishop takes his hand and cups your chin, Genevieve, and says, "Enjoy your evening, child."
Is the bishop a good-looking guy?
I would say he's not a bad looking guy. I would say he's above average. I wouldn't say he's some, stellar Spaniard hottie or anything, but he's, reasonably attractive.
How many dots in appearance does he have?
At least 3.
Also more than me. I'm just average. Yeah, I kind of sigh a little bit and straighten up and nod and thank you, master.
My skin crawls.
He turns and walks with shadows back to the doorway. And as he passes through the archway deeper into the church where you can't see, the tiniest bit, just the tiniest bit of shadow helps pull him from the visible space. He almost gets swallowed up by the darkness there. And I think I'm going to call our break there for the moment. So we're going to take a break. Cass will get a chance to get up and bio for a little bit and get what they need. We recommend you do some self-care as well. And so we'll be back in 5 or so. And so don't nobody go nowhere. Ready. Here we go. So we're back, lovingly so, for the second half, and hoping you're all enjoying our story so far. So the church and its trio now have a little space and a little time to talk. My question is are the trio going to talk inside, or are you going to perhaps find a slightly more, well, maybe a less ecclesiastical place to have a conversation?
I think I would start walking away from the church with fair immediacy.
Okay.
I would also ask Genevieve to go on a lovely social stroll with us rather than staying here, and immediately follow Ophelia.
Fabulous. Okay.
Follow.
Follow. You head outside. You find the Dama's retainer in the wagon. And you head outside. 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 And you head outside There is a opportunity and space for you to climb back inside.
Do you want to go for a walk, or would you like to go for a ride? Um, just around. We'll obviously drop you back off when we're done chatting, but it seems like a good time to catch up.
That's weird. I totally lost Morgan's audio.
Wow, it's not even that she's muted.
No.
Just gone.
No, it's just flat out gone.
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
So weird.
That is strange.
I didn't even, I mean, like, I don't know. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So weird. Yeah, wherever we can be the most discreet. If you trust your Damas.
Pretty implicitly, yes.
Then let's ride and have a chat.
Okay.
So
I'll,
the driver assists everyone getting in. There are stairs for you to climb. There are a hand for you to steady yourself on. Not that you probably use it or need it, Genevieve, but it's made available to you should you decide.
Take
and
their
then
hand.
after everybody's set, they spur the horses into action, and you begin to take a ride around the city, which gives you a beautiful amount of both visual cover and audio cover, as it's going to be pretty hard to hear the conversation inside of a covered wagon.
It seems we've all changed a bit since we got to spend real time together. I'll put a hand on each of my fellow ghoulies when I say, well, former ghoulies when I say that. Things have been kind to us all in that we're all still here, but it's been an interesting. How long has it been? Few weeks, or
Yeah, probably
It's
at
been
most of a few weeks.
it's been an interesting few weeks though. And Genevieve, it would have been nicer. It would have been nice to see you under better circumstances. So we thought we'd come check on you. Shooting glances between Genevieve and Ophelia as the can't mediate this whole thing.
Worried about me? I mean, that evening we had together was really special.
Yeah, we were worried about you. The last time we saw you was most unpleasant.
Yes, it was at the forum.
Oh. I mean the one where my former sire / lover was brutally murdered and put to death.
That would be the most unpleasant experience that I am alluding to, yes. So if you are going to put such a fine point on it, yeah, that seems like it would be jarring at the least. You seemed quite upset at the time. So I mean, I can't imagine how I'd feel if that happened to the Dama. So yeah, of course we wanted to check on you afterwards.
Are you okay?
Well, yes. I mean, Antonio made his choice.
wasn't what I asked. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I've had some time to reflect on the choices that Antonio made, choices that I gotta see again.
And then type Godzilla.
Hope you don't get sick and die.
I'm they hurt. Um, um, hang on, I lost my lost my thought.
You reflected on the choices that Antonio made.
Yes.
Like
thank
sneezing.
you. I reflected on the choice that Antonio made and the choices that I made and realized that I needed to repent. And part of my penance was that Antonio was, you know, absolved of his crimes by being killed.
I'm going
I'm
to
not-
shoot a worried glance at Ophelia. I'm not going to interrupt Ophelia, just a worried fucking glance.
I'm not one for religion, but I'm not sure that murder of any kind is really absolution, if I remember doctrine correctly.
I mean, there was that whole Crusades thing where they were like, yes.
Yeah, and last I read the good book, Pillars of Salt seemed to come up, so.
It's true. I've had a lot of time to reflect, meditate, pray.
And how long have you been in this state?
Like 2 days. Is that how long it's been since?
Probably.
Okay.
Yes, it's probably been about 2 days since some unknown kindred made you.
So then, are you happy with this? And I like gesture to like her, like all of this, like having turned into a Lasombra.
Michael, can I know we're not in the fits of like a fight or anything like that, but would I be able to use my obtenebration to show them a little bit what I can do?
You can certainly choose to use Ob 10 whenever you would like, or I'm sorry, that's my OG World of Darkness player mouth talking. Obtenebration is a discipline that is used by, those silly Lasombra. So yeah, absolutely. I guess the question is what would you like to? How would you like to show them?
I just want to make it. I just want to make it a little bit more darker in the carriage.
Absolutely, spend a blood point.
Okay.
Okay, so level 1 of Obtenebration is Shadow Play. So you can't create shadows, but you can move and modify existing shadows. So you are instantly more intimidating by a dot when the power is active. You can also see through those shadows.
You get 2 points in
I know, but you're
Obtenebration.
just using
Oh,
Shadow Play
okay.
at this point. You're not using Nocturne, which is the big ball of darkness, which probably would not be very we'll just say socially mutual at this point.
Oh.
It would be a big what is that dark globe traveling around town? It's a good way to get yourself in big time trouble.
Okay.
But yeah, so feel free to narrate and choose how you're going to manipulate the shadows within the carriage. You have full control over them. They don't do
Yep,
any.
so
They wouldn't do any damage, but you can certainly add any flavor text that you like.
yeah, so I would like to use the shadows to crawl up both Emerenzia's and Ophelia's legs
Oh boy. Okay.
and um up and around both of their arms. And I'm not doing anything. I don't want to do anything to constrict them or anything like that. It's just a show of, hey,
Yeah.
look at what I can do.
Yeah. So, what's just to be clear with Genevieve, what's your current intimidation skill?
Too.
Okay. So with this active, it's 3. Um, yeah. So the shadows move along the. I guess my question is, are you moving the shadows which are underneath their dresses, or are you moving the shadows which are on top of them? The clarity here is going to be very important.
Oh, on top of them.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Got to be clear.
We're not there yet. I mean, that's a different carriage ride. We're gonna talk
Oh.
about Bridgerton.
Yeah. We're this close. We're this close.
It's close.
So yeah, so for the two of you, like the shadows move on their own with no change in the light, and you watch them creep along like your outfits and also on your arms. And it's very clear that, at least to you, that Genevieve is exerting some sort of force over them, and it makes Genevieve a little scary.
I reach out and I clutch Emerenzia's hand. She's my lifeline right now.
Clutching pearls. Here we are.
I will hold it back. I will let Ophelia squeeze as hard as she needs to. But I will address Genevieve instead. Just returning the same amount of pressure Ophelia is giving to my hand back in a comforting way. Genevieve, of all the ways I pictured you potentially caressing me in a carriage, shadows up my arms, not one of them. Care to explain it? The nervous laughter is also in character. This is very Lasombra of you. Congratulations. Um, I think we knew that you gained powers already just by your stunning complexion. I think you can ease back again now. We're all friends in this carriage still, right?
I start to laugh. Yes, it hasn't changed. And the shadows start to recede off of their arms and legs.
How delightfully creepy of you. I am proud of you for your newfound abilities.
Sombra offers me power.
Power is useful. Power is very important to some. I mean, I think some amount of power and different definitions of it is important to all of us. Um, I am glad that they offer you what you're seeking. She'll say as sort of an open-ended question. I'm glad they're offering you what you're seeking.
They offer me real power. Real power that Antonio would not have been able to give me. A chance to lead. To make a difference.
And what kind of difference would you like to make?
I actually don't have an answer. I haven't even thought. What would happen if I got actual power to lead? I don't know.
Is
Well,
there a long silence in character?
Yeah, there would have been a silent. Yeah, I would, because I'm really thinking about it. I've strived for all this time to get to where I am now, and now that
Mhm.
I have power, what comes next? And so, well, I would strive for vampire kind to be the best that we can be. No, that's not going to work.
That can mean a lot of things.
Yeah,
And that,
sure
Like,
could.
it's very open ended of you there.
that also leads into the fact that I think Emerenzia will point out that just like there's many types of power, there are many ways to make a difference, and it's not always what we hoped it would be. And uh, changes aren't always good. So I'd be careful with however you do choose to lead, however you do choose to make a difference, however you do choose to um, present yourself and your clan and any other kindred you should make. Be careful and be intentional. There's nothing worse than somebody who finally has power and has the ability to lead, who does not um, who does not even know what they stand for and are just leading for the sake of leading.
I would also hope that this was not a decision made lightly for you, as you probably were not with them for very long, and that the promises they've made you do not turn out to be hollow in nature.
I promise you that they would not like it if the promises they made me do not come to pass, or if they've lied to me.
Other than you getting your embrace finally. And I mean, all three of us no longer ghouls. Um, what kinds of promises have they been making you? You don't exist right now. I see you unmuted and it's just pretty mouth movements.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we can't hear you.
What? Really?
Oh,
Yep.
oh, we heard the what. So this also happened earlier when you said whatever sentence ended in worried about me. That is where we started hearing you. I
Right.
think that there's some noise gate or something that is keeping you from being heard when you're speaking too softly, which could explain why we only hear when you exclaim, "What?"
All right. Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yes. Just
Mhm.
Okay.
now see if the mic will play nice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Testing. Um,
Oh, Genevieve, whisper to me more.
whisper. Okay. um, they've promised me power. I'm not gonna tell them what they've promised me because, yeah. An opportunity to lead someday. Now, whether that's Clan Lasombra or maybe all the clans under one umbrella.
I tense very hard at that particular statement.
Yeah, I know that
This
sounds
is
like
the point where
that sounds like
Emerenzius. Oh, sorry.
that sounds like top down order for you, Bruja. That's no bueno.
This is the moment where Emerenzia is squeezing Ophelia's hand harder than the other way around. This is the thing that gets that moment to happen.
Carriage stops.
I'll look out the.
You're
Look
outside
outside
the
to,
Dama's residence.
I've been asked to retrieve something.
Oh? What are you seeking to retrieve?
And I'm hoping one of you can help me. When we borrowed those items,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
those items from, I totally lost his name. That
Epirus?
dude, Epirus. There we go. From Epirus's villa a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did either one of you happen to get vials of blood?
I did not. And I don't believe that the Dama would have a use for those, would she, Emerenzia?
I can't say why I can't think of a good reason for Kindred to need vials of blood. Genevieve, why do you need vials of blood?
I just need one. It's something that Clan Lasombra has been looking for a long time.
Mm.
And if I provide the vial of blood, I will get my own section of the city for my own.
Mm.
And perhaps
What would
you ladies. Oh, sorry.
No, please.
It could be the start of a new era. You ladies could live with me. We could live together. It wouldn't be me. We would.
What would you want with a whole section of the city for your own?
Because I would.
Are you looking to? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh. Are you looking to improve the status of Constantinople? Leading a section is a big job. And I'm not saying that you are incapable. I'm just saying that I believe that the clans have set people forth that have much more experience than any of us would.
Well, when I fought in the Holy War, I don't think they would have called it the Crusades. We might have already touched on that.
Oh, yeah, they would have. 100%.
I helped lead men and women to their death or to victory. This wouldn't be my first time leading something.
Sure, but those are soldiers into battle. These are, in theory, citizens trying to live lives. So those are different skill sets.
Or are
I'm
we
not saying it's a
expecting
skill.
another war?
I'm not saying it's a skill you don't have. I'm just saying leading a battle and civic duty are not the same thing.
Who could help? This would be a great opportunity for us to show the clans how well we can work together. And the area could be for anybody from any clan. We could be the premier place in Constantinople where people come and talk knowledge or have a drink.
Mm-hmm. That is a very,
Generous offer.
very
Yeah.
generous offer and a beautiful vision of all the clans coexisting and talking philosophy together. Um,
The
I
driver sets the stairs out.
I am
um,
happy to discuss with Master Dukas if he knows of these vials that you speak of, and if we can find information on it. I'm sure that if anyone can be of help, it would be him.
Well, if Ophelia, if you don't have the vials and I don't have the vials, the only other person that could have the vials is Emerenzia.
and you're sure that they left the vault that night?
Well, I'm not sure of everything because I don't know what was in. I don't know. I don't think I know what was in the statue, the stat or the month, the whatever. that
Other
we
than my
took.
arm.
But yeah,
How's this? I will get out here as this is my stop. Um, we'll have the carriage take you back home for the night. And we will see what information we can get you for next time we shall meet.
I would really appreciate that.
Emerenzia, you watch
Yes, I
the driver stiffen. He stands up really straight for a second. And you watch his eyes like roll back in his head. But he doesn't collapse or pass out. He stands there with his eyes like rolled back in his head there in the darkness. And then he comes to for a moment. And you see him reacquire where he's at.
Hmm. Are you all right?
The Dama requests your presence.
Good. I was just on my way to speak to her.
All of you.
Ah. Shall we then, Genevieve? I'll step out of the carriage.
Let's.
Welcome to my home.
You enter an opulent villa in the Palace District, or just outside the Palace District. This is a prominent place to have a domain, and it befits someone of high status, likely a clan elder, and someone who has financial and political power. That's your sort of immediate assessment, Genevieve. There are a collection of retainers, like ghouls that walk about the location. It reminds you an awful lot of the way Antonio's villa worked. You can tell some of the same sort of styles and stations. Although this villa is not very long, it's tall. And you begin, you're escorted, the three of you, up in a series of ascending staircases until you get to this third floor. And then outside the Dama's residence, there are two retainers who are sort of in a strange, almost formal dress. Emerenzia, you are aware that the Dama has retainers who seek to serve as her protectors. They're not stationed outside very often, but they're here tonight.
I will take note of that, but I will not mention anything to the ladies.
Okay.
But genuinely, I believe that they're probably here to protect her from Genevieve. So I'm just going to not say anything and walk in.
Yeah. You go to the door and open it. The main space here has been cleared. Something that you see, which is normally here, is not, and that is the tub. The tub has been removed. It is somewhere else, and the space is mostly open. There is a series of musicians, like in one of the corners, that is playing very soft and relaxing music.
Mm-hmm.
At the far end of the space, this is a rectangular space for everyone's sort of visual. On the left and the right hand side of the space, there's colonnades, smaller ones, in which there are places to sit. There are bookshelves. There's all sorts of little spaces, little art spaces for painting or sculpture work or crafts. There's likely one space is basically nothing but like really overstuffed pillows and probably like a hookah. And then in one space off to the right, there's a small desk and a chair. And then behind that, there's a spiral staircase that goes up to what almost looks like a loft area. And Emerenzia, you would know that's where the Dama's actual bed is when she decides to use it. Other times she sleeps in the tub, or other times she passes out amongst, the mounds of flesh in the pillow area. She sort of takes each day as it comes. But she's here at the desk, and she seems to be poring over a book. There's like a little lantern light nearby that's casting not the normal sort of rose glow that is over everything. This is actually somewhat bright light. And she has like a couple sheets of paper out, and she looks up as you enter.
Dama, you wish to speak to all of us?
Yes. Genevieve, is it?
It is. And I bow to the Dama as a way of respect.
It's my understanding that my child was concerned for your safety. Are you safe?
Oh, I am. I appreciate Emerenzia and Ophelia's concern for me.
She's kindred now. Lasombra.
Yes. I see that, child. I don't hear a heart beating.
I'll shoot a attempting to be subtle, concerned look at the Dama.
And how are you finding Clan Lasombra?
Intoxicating, exhilarating.
I've known several members of the clan, although most that are here in Constantinople are quite new. I've had some discussions with Bishop Alfonso. He seems a measured and intelligent man.
He is one of the smartest of our clan.
Cultured, too. It's rare, but he certainly has had the time to steep, as one might say. So, I couldn't help overhear that there was some concern about what had to have been taken from the villa.
that.
What's that?
You heard that.
I hear many things, my dear. That's my job.
Well, you are as wise as you are beautiful.
Oh, far more beautiful.
Yes, there's some inquiry about some blood that the Lasombra have been looking for quite some time, um, so that Genevieve here could have her own quadrant of the city.
Oh, you see.
It's quite an honor to be given such responsibility so early after being turned.
Only 2 days.
Well, the Lasombra act quickly. They like to test their new children, which I do not have any disagreement with. I think the newly embraced should be tested. It's one of the only ways to know whether or not the bread has been baked properly.
You tested me quite thoroughly,
Hmm.
repeatedly.
And I enjoyed every moment of it. I should test you again as soon as I have the opportunity to. But in truth, there is no reason to keep such things from you. In fact, I have quite the duty to put at your feet, child. She closes the book. I have it on very good authority that Epirus held a quite important piece of leverage over someone powerful within Constantinople. I also have it on reasonably good authority that Clan Lasombra knew about this somehow. I am not certain how, but that is no matter. I will find out how. You see, the blood they seek is of our dear dreamer. Many, many centuries ago, Michael took lovers. He believed in the Trinity very deeply. The number 3 has an awful lot of power in Constantinople. Things appear in threes, things are done in threes. It's repeating. And so, in a way, Michael's loves must have been 3. First and foremost, of course, he chose to love himself. And he took other lovers. A member of Clan Zemis and a member of Clan Venture. But love is not always eternal, even as we wish it might be. But during the time when it was, he gave something of himself to one of his lovers who, try as they might, could not hold on to it forever. And it fell into someone else's hands. Are you aware of the power one might have over another kindred if you hold their blood?
Would I have been aware of that?
Hell no.
Okay.
Like not really, no. It's not, I mean, without actual vampire lore, like you wouldn't really know what could be done with vampire blood. You know, it can make ghouls. And technically it can make other vampires.
Is that something I would know from my studies with Kalias?
I mean, you would know that your master always believed that vampiric blood was potent, that it had power, that it was the channel by which the two things were delivered. One would be the power of the bloodline, and then two, the curse of Cain.
Okay. Can I roll for kindred lore?
Do you have kindred lore?
I do.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. It's intelligence, kindred lore. So this is sort of like a either you know it or you don't.
Yeah.
Diff 6, 3 successes required.
How many?
3.
Oh, I've got 4.
So you know that it's possible through manipulation of the blood to potentially call someone to
Mhm.
yourself if you have the right disciplines. It's really the largest current concern in the past 100 or so years, or a couple hundred years, has been the fact that Clan Tremere evidently has the ability to um, use mystical powers over kindred blood, and they can do things to it. And that stuff you're not really certain of, but you know that they know things, that they're wizards, and they study vampiric blood, and that's how they got their power. Um, and so, if someone were to have a vial of Michael's blood, who knows what they could do with it? I mean, they could potentially make a really potent vampire.
Yeah. My eyes will widen as the Dama is talking because, like, I'll have remembered that during
Right.
my studies, and I'll raise my eyebrows, like, and glance at Emerenzia. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Um, I will look to Ophelia, but then keep focusing on the Dama speaking instead. Just sort of an acknowledgement that I can tell that she's staring at me, but um, trying not to bring too much attention onto Ophelia. So just keep listening to the Dama speak. It is one of my favorite activities anyway.
If we're going to determine whether or not this is feasible, then one would have to have those vials, and they would have to go through a testing of sorts to be certain of their power. Vampires should never give up their blood easily.
Give you or do for you to obtain one of those vials of blood?
I must tell you, Genevieve, it would be dangerous for me to give you blood to scuttle off back to Clan Lasombra. You see, we exist in Constantinople in a delicate balance. And the muse has been difficult to hear sometimes. We all last saw him exact kindred justice. There are concerns. And while I believe in his vision, there are others who don't. Your former master, Antonio, clearly did not either. I do need something. I need to know for certain whether or not this blood is as potent as it is rumored to be. Even with all of the texts in front of me and at my command, I do not have the talents necessary to determine its age, but I do know someone who can. I know a member of Clan Tremere who we could inquire with. They might be able to test the blood. I would be willing to place one of the vials in Emerenzia's hands. And have her, and perhaps you and Ophelia, accompany her to Teresa's estate. It's on the northern portion of the city, Fourth Hill. Teresa Camina has been here in Constantinople for some time. She is a powerful kindred in her own right, and one who understands very deeply the need when it arises. Think of it like this. If you were to take this vial back and it wasn't what your clan needed, you might look like a fool.
Not wrong.
And so while I cannot promise you the vial, I can promise you that Teresa will be able to determine what it is.
So what do I get for accompanying and Emerenzia?
What do you get? What do you get? Because you must always get something, yes? She stands up from the desk. I would be careful entering this new life as a kindred and sullying every conversation as if it is a transaction. Subtle acceptance and obedience when an elder tasks you with something can earn you favor more than any writ or coin purse can deliver. You want power. First learn how it is used and grown. She opens the desk, like a drawer, and she pulls out a piece of like leathery, like a leather bag. It's no more than a couple hands high. And then passes it over the table to Emerenzia.
I mean, I will accept it, but at this point, since I'm close enough to her that there's not really anyone else looking at my face right now, I will not bother trying to hide my concern over this or weariness about this situation. I'll just let that be all over my face as I grab this from her while making eye contact with her as I reach and pull it towards me. I'll just not look at it at all. I know what I'm grabbing. I brought it here.
It's not the same bag you had as before. This actually looks
it still feel like the same kind of bottle inside, right?
Yeah, roughly. But where there were two before, you're fairly certain there's only one in here.
Sure. I mean, not sending both with us makes sense.
The
That
Dama,
isn't what she was just describing.
She probably slows the transfer down to you a little bit. Like she forces you to sort of like linger for a moment. It's of course intoxicating because she doesn't break eye contact with you. And she says, in French, keep it safe and close.
Ooh, I understood that.
I bet you did.
I will.
Good. Good.
I'll pocket it.
I will actually look to the Dama and ask in French on purpose if she will send a message to my master and my household so he knows where I am going to be going.
She turns to you and walks around like a portion of the desk so that she can be close to you. And she walks behind you and then appears like sort of on the right side of you. And somewhat playfully, she says, "Certainly, I will tell Callias that you are on a important task for me. And I'll tell him that you are finely dressed as a woman should be. I'm certain that he will enjoy that."
And I respond back in French and I tell them, shall we go?
I love that we all know French. That's great.
It's one of the languages I don't know out of the 3 that I do.
Oh.
I just double checked.
We're all having a little private French conversation, and you're just like,
What are we saying?
Yeah. Italian, Greek, Latin, not French. I guess I know what language I'm buying later.
be quick about it. There is some time left in the night. Take advantage of it while you can. And as I would say to any of my own, I will say to the 3 of you, be wary the usurpers. Clan Tremere stole immortality. They took it through wizardry and arcane tricks. Trust is something that should be weighed very carefully with them, especially those who are eager to please. She leans back.
And I'll bow and leave the room.
Yeah. She leans back like on the desk. She puts like 2 hands on the desk and just sort of leans back real slow, which is a really strange, like it's a very I guess the best way I would put it is it's a very male posture to take.
Mm. Very assertive.
Quite.
And I appreciate that about her. I will try to not get lost in her right now. I will keep it and us as safe as I can, and I will be not only on my best behavior, but on my most alert behavior while at Teresa's and on the way there and back. Especially should anyone else know why we're going there at any point in this.
Good. It's quite possible that Clan Tremere will have gathered retainers to protect the location of their chantry, their wizarding house.
Mm.
Be mindful. There may be tricks at play.
Well, should there be any concern, I will state that we're here on your business, which we technically will be. So I'll try not to overuse your name, but it does give a sense of legitimacy to being there, unless you think that that is unwise.
No, not at all. Clan Tremere operates very much on social status and internal clan status. So putting you in touch with Teresa is the best method to determining whose blood this is, and moreover, how strong it is.
Excellent. Well, I will look forward to seeing what she has to say and reporting back to you as soon as possible.
Wonderful. Be safe.
I'll do my best.
She turns and heads back to the desk and sits down. The three of you head back out of the third floor, and you leave the guards and the Dama behind.
That's always the worst. Well, I suppose we should head out. Is there anything either of you need to do before we head to Teresa's place?
No, the Dama is sending a message along to Master Dukas for me.
If Genevieve doesn't say that she needs anything, then I'll just return to the carriage outside,
Wonderful.
assuming that you're following me in stride.
Yep.
Well, I'm pleasantly happy to think that we got to this point. And so, what I'd like to do is just close our camera lens here. I also want to raid a fellow friend. I've got a couple of potential possibilities we could send us to. Um, I'm happy to take suggestions from my ghoulies. I see Emmy Divergent is up playing Fallout 2. And so she's quite something. And so I think it would be fun to raid Emmy Divergent. So we'll do that. But if you are a Patreon supporter, after we raid and we close out of this, we are going to go record upon reflection and talk about this episode and maybe some of the internal turmoil that now may be brewing within the ghoulies about what is going to be done with this vow. I love all the potential possibilities. And I'm happy to announce two things. First, the next time we all get together, we are going to have a stream guest. And so that will be a ton of fun. We have yet to have a stream guest here, but we're going to have one next time, which will be fun. And then if you're with us, please stop back tomorrow when we're going to be playing with a whole host of friends for our Quantum Fire game, which is they came from Classified. It is going to be a fun romp in the 70s with all sorts of quips and strange mechanics. And we're just going to be having a blast doing silly things and playing spies and beating up fascists. So we hope you will check that out as well. So hang with us in the raid. We're going to go raid Emmy Divergent and say hello to her as well. So thank you, and we'll catch you on the flip.